If you've been living in the same house for a while, you might be sitting on a quiet little fortune. Specifically, if you bought your home a decade ago or more, the steady rhythm of mortgage payments and rising property values has likely built up something substantial. Equity is simple math. Take your home's current market value and subtract what you still owe. As the loan shrinks, equity expands. And the result? The median wealth of a homeowner is 40 times higher than a renter, almost entirely driven by equity. This is the primary financial engine you have to fund whatever you decide to do next. The problem is how most of us actually check that number. We pull up a popular real estate app, glance at the estimate, and start planning our retirement around it. It's incredibly easy to accept that instant number as the absolute truth. The app gives you a specific dollar amount, and your brain anchors to it, assuming the machine did the math correctly. But how are these algorithms actually built? This logic diagram shows data feeding the app's estimate. Notice what gets blocked: your interior upgrades and hyper-local neighborhood improvements. Missing these details routinely causes automated tools to undervalue properties by tens of thousands of dollars. Relying on a zero-friction algorithm might be convenient, but it directly limits your options. It leaves a substantial portion of your financial safety net invisible, simply because a computer code didn't know it was there. You have a choice in how you measure your wealth. You can trade accuracy for the instant gratification of an app, or you can trade a little bit of your time for a professional assessment. This comparison matrix breaks down that trade-off. On the left side, the online estimate tools give you immediate speed, but they carry a high risk of undervaluation because they ignore your specific upgrades and the actual pulse of the local market. Moving to the right side, the professional equity check requires a slight time commitment to initiate, but as highlighted here, that small friction drastically lowers your risk and provides a market-adjusted accuracy that the algorithm can't match. Many people put this off because they think calling a professional means they have to put a for sale sign in the yard. But getting clarity on your wealth does not obligate you to move. Optimizing your wealth means accepting a few minutes of friction today to get the definitive, accurate numbers you need to confidently plan your retirement. Once you finally have that accurate, definitive number in your hand, those phantom dollars turn into actual, tangible choices. You might choose to downsize. The trade-off here is emotional. You're leaving a home full of memories, but the result is accessing a massive amount of liquid cash to fund your retirement years. Alternatively, you can tap into that value to renovate your current space or help a family member with the down payment. The benefit is immediate utility, though it usually means taking on a new debt load. Or you can choose to leave it exactly where it is. This provides deep financial insulation against life's emergencies, with the understanding that the wealth remains tied up in the physical property. Equity is a versatile tool, but until you measure it accurately and decide how to use it, its true utility remains purely theoretical. To escape the algorithmic blind spots and figure out exactly what your property is worth, you can follow a straightforward process. Looking at this three-step audit, the very first move is to deliberately ignore any online estimates you've seen recently. You have to remove that psychological anchor before you can find the real baseline. Step 2 is gathering the data the machine missed. You need to compile the documentation for any significant property upgrades you've completed over the last decade. This does require physical effort. You'll need to spend an afternoon digging through old files to find renovation receipts and project costs. Finally, step 3 is handing that specific information over for a localized, pressure-free professional breakdown. An expert can synthesize those upgrades into a true market valuation. Completing this audit replaces automated guesswork with a definitive number you can actually use to plan your life. This decision tree illustrates how an accurate equity baseline maps directly to your future options. If your goal is to simplify, following this top branch shows how knowing your true baseline dictates exactly what you can afford if you decide to downsize or buy your next property in cash. Moving to the middle branch, if your goal is to upgrade or support your family, your baseline dictates how far you can go in funding major renovations or gifting down payments. And on the bottom branch, if your goal is strict security, your baseline quantifies exactly how much of a safety net you are holding in reserve. Knowing these numbers early puts you in total control. It gives you the power to make strategic choices, long before a sudden life event forces your hand. This kind of proactive preparation is essential for pre-retirees and long-term residents who want to maintain absolute control over their upcoming lifestyle transitions. If you bought your home within the last few years, you likely haven't had the time required to build substantial market equity, so this evaluation isn't an immediate priority. But if you have maintained your home for a decade or more, your property has worked hard for you. Now it is time to let that built-up value work for your future. Bypass the automated algorithms, start a conversation with a local expert early, and secure a real baseline assessment of your home's worth. Calculating your true home equity is your strongest defense against financial inertia. It is the first step towards seeing exactly